All right, and I think we are live. Hopefully this mic sounds okay. If there's any technical issues, let me know in the chat, please. Well, hello and welcome to Film Thoughts with Nathanael Molnár. I am your aforementioned host, Nathanael Molnár, and this is the laid-back casual show where we're just talking about whatever is on my mind in the world of film. Now, Film Thoughts with Nathanael Molnár is live on YouTube every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure to come join us whenever we're live for this show. It's going to be a lot of fun, as it always is. So, how this show typically works is I have a few topics in the world of film that I'm going to talk about, and then we'll turn it over to the chat board and see what is going on there. So, usually I bring up my sheet that has all my notes and everything for the show. I am realizing now that I didn't do that, so if I seem distracted for a second, that is what I'm going to be doing right now. Um, I was just playing right before I started the show. I was playing the Spider-Man PS4 game, and I gotta say, I fucking love that game. I think that game is fantastic. I've been playing it a lot because I got I had never had a PS4 before. And then I was like, you know what? I want a PS4. So I got a PS4. And I've been playing it pretty much for since Christmas, which is when I got the PS4. And I love this game. This game is so much fun for Spider-Man fans. It really captures the essence of the character so very well, and it's fun. I've not played a Spider-Man game like it in a long time. So, anyways, I just wanted to mention that real quick. The first bit of news we're going to be talking about today. So, Pet Semetary is coming out in April. This was one of my most anticipated films of the year. I think it was in my honorable mentions for my top 10 most anticipated of 2019. Sorry. So I've been really looking forward to this movie. I thought the first trailer for it was great. It was really exciting and it just looks terrifying. And I don't know too much about the story. That's the thing. I don't know too much about the story of this film, but I love the people behind it. Stephen King adaptations have been on a roll lately. I'm very interested in seeing it. And then today we got a second trailer, which gives us a little bit more of the story. Now, some of this is information that I wish I didn't know, but I get it. You know, the book's been out for a long time. The movie that they did before this one, I think it might have been a TV movie, not theatrically released. That's been out for a while. So the fact that they gave away a important plot point, I mean, the story's been around for a while, so I can't really blame them for not just assuming that that's public knowledge. But at the same time, it's something that I wish I hadn't been able to see. Is the chat board available? There we go. Okay. Yes, sorry. For a second, I could not see the chat board, but now I can see the chat board. Glad to see you're with us, Rob. So, yeah, the plot point, I didn't know about it, but you know what? It's been out for a while, so, uh, I mean, I can't blame them for including important plot details just because I didn't know about it. That can't be a fault of the trailer. That doesn't make any sense. So, do I wish I didn't know that? Yeah, I wish I hadn't known that going in. But I know it now. It's in the trailer. It's fine. I'm sure it's just part of the setup work, and I can't wait to see this movie. So I thought the trailer was creepy. I thought it was effective. I thought it gave us a better sense of what the story's going to be like, what the world's going to be like, what this movie's going to be like. Pardon me. Um, I think I like the simplicity of the first trailer more because this is definitely a full trailer. The first one was just more of like a teaser. So I think I like the simplicity of the first one more, but this trailer was really good. I'm very excited for this movie. I can't wait to see it. Next up, so we had heard a while ago that they've been trying to work on this World War Z sequel for a while, since the first one came out in 2013. But what really got me interested, and I liked World War Z, I thought it was good. I enjoyed it, especially the unrated cut, which is the only cut I've seen. Um, because the theatrical version was PG-13, and there was a lot of cool things they did with the unrated cut that I'm sure because of blood and gore wasn't in the PG-13. So the cut I saw of the film, I really liked. That movie came out in 2013. And then I don't know exactly when it was, but some point a while ago they said David Fincher was going to be directing this World War Z sequel. Now I was already, moderately interested in a World War Z sequel just because I liked the first one. Yeah, sure, I'll see another one. The second that you say David Fincher is going to be directing this thing, that's when it goes from, yeah, I'm moderately excited to now I can't wait to see what David Fincher does with a World War Z movie. Him re-teaming with Brad Pitt doing zombies? Are you kidding me? That sounds awesome. So immediately shot up as a movie I'm really looking forward to. Well, now it's officially been scrapped. They've canned the film, at least for right now. Maybe it'll be back on the table at some point, but right now it's off the table. They're saying that there were some budget concerns, which, okay. I mean, my question is, they're about a few months out from filming. How did they not have all this solidified months ago? But this is the time before they actually start shooting that you can make some of these changes. Okay, this is an interesting question. Am I disappointed that we're not getting World War Z 2 as of right now? No, not necessarily. I'm not disappointed. I am disappointed we're not seeing a David Fincher World War Z movie, although I would probably be more interested in an original David Fincher film rather than him picking up a franchise that's already had one installment. I would be more interested in that, frankly. But, he was going to do World War Z 2. I was looking forward to it. Now they're not doing it again. It could be on the books again at some point. Honestly, I'm not too worked up over it. I would have liked to have seen what he would have done with a World War Z movie, but it's not the end of the world. David Fincher's going to move on to new projects. Brad Pitt's going to move on, and hopefully they'll all put out some really excellent stuff in the years to come. So World War Z 2 could still happen. It's not completely off the books. It just doesn't seem like this iteration of it. And I'm going to say right now, if they do announce, hey, World War Z 2 is back on the table, unless if they announce it in like the next, few weeks, which I don't see happening. But if they announce World War Z 2 is back on board, I don't think they're going to say that Dave Fincher is back with it. He's probably going to move on because the guy's a very busy dude. All right. Moving right along. One of my favorite films of last year was Halloween. I am a huge, unabashed fan of the original Halloween. I love what John Carpenter did with that film. By the way, I have a bit of a cough today, so if I take more water than usual, if I cough a few times, just like that, it's because I have a bit of a cough. So I apologize about that up front. But Halloween was one of my favorite films of last year. I love the original Halloween that John Carpenter did. I thought he did a fantastic job with that film. And I thought the sequel that came out last year, also called Halloween, was such a perfect complement to that original film. It came out and there was a reverence to it. I heard someone refer to there being a reverence to it. And I think that's the perfect word to use for the Halloween sequel that came out last year. There was a reverence to it. It honored and respected the original. You could tell that the people who made the sequel to Halloween loved the first one and appreciate it and wanted to honor it and pay their dues and respect it with the sequel. And that really shined through with the Halloween movie that we got. On top of it also just being a great movie with great performances and great horror and great gore and all that kind of stuff. Across the board, that movie was just great, and I really loved it. And I'm going to get into some brief spoilers about the end of the film. So if you have not seen the Halloween movie that came out last year, you might want to mute this video for the next couple minutes because I'm going to be talking about the ending of that movie. But how the movie ends is that they lure Michael Myers into the basement, and then they set the house on fire, and there's the shot of the basement. Excuse me. There's the shot of the basement burning, and Michael Myers is not there. Now, of course, just by the absence of Michael Myers being in that shot, you're setting yourself up for a sequel. How the hell he got out of that basement on fire, I don't know. That's something they're gonna have to explain. But we knew between the fact that it was left open for the potential for a sequel and that the movie made a ridiculous amount of money. I'm actually curious how much it ended up making. I'm gonna look it up right now. Box Office Mojo. One second, because I know it did really well. It did very, very, very well for itself. Uh, yeah. So on on a $10 million production budget, the movie made $253 million worldwide. 253 million on a $10 million budget. That's crazy. That is crazy. Yeah. So the movie made ridiculous amounts of money. So you knew that they were at least exploring the options for doing a sequel. They were at least exploring the options. Whether or not they were going to do it, we knew it was at least in their heads that they wanted to do it. Well, now it seems like they're actually moving forward with this Halloween sequel because they brought on writers to do it. And I believe it's the writers from Narcos, Mexico, whatever the one with Diego Luna and Michael Pena that was just coming out. Whatever Narcos that was, I think it's Narcos Mexico. That one, I believe some of the writers from that are working on this Halloween sequel. So they'll need to come up with a good explanation as to why, or rather, how Michael Myers could have gotten out of that basement. They're going to have to explain that one. But I'm interested in this. I'm interested because it felt like they told their story of, okay, we have the first Halloween and we want to explore what's going on with Laurie Strode after. We want to get into what the trauma that she felt, the pain that still haunts her, and also how she built herself up to be a complete warrior and badass. It seems like that story that's in the aftermath of the first Halloween, it seems like that story's been told. So where do you go from it with it from there? What's the new story? That's what I'm interested in. I just hope that it doesn't feel cheap. Like I hope that it doesn't feel like they're just like, oh well, this last one made a ton of money, so let's make another one, and then we start getting into the sequel territory that we had with all the other Halloween sequels. You know, where the first one's a success, and then they rush out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and keep going. I hope we don't go back to that. I hope that they find a story that feels natural, that feels organic, that doesn't feel forced, and that you can tell there's actually more story to tell. And there's more places to take these characters rather than just, oh, well, we got to make this money because the last one made a ton of money. Woo! Yeah, no, there needs to be something more to it. And so I'm hopeful that they'll be able to find a really good story to tell with us. Because I will be disappointed if Halloween, and I'm sure this one's also just going to be called Halloween, you know, because that makes sense. I'm sure when this one comes out, or at least I'm hoping that when this one comes out, we don't just watch it and go, oh, they really had nothing. They just forced that one. I really hope it doesn't come to that. I'm interested in the prospects of another one. Wow, I am really, my throat is not doing well right now. I don't know what's going on. Sorry, guys. I keep talking and I can feel like the cough like rising in my chest. So I apologize about that. I'm gonna try to get through this. But now I lost my train of thought. I would have been happy if they just ended Halloween with the last one that we got, because I thought it capped it off perfectly. It was a great compliment to the first one. I would have been happy if they just said, you know what, we're done. We made a lot of money. We're just going to go home. We're going to spend all these hundreds of millions of dollars that we made and call it a day. I would have been fine with that. They're doing another one. Okay. I'm okay with that too. As long as it's not forced, as long as it feels natural, I'll go see it and I'll give it a shot. But yeah, they brought on some writers. It looks like this film is happening. Curious to see how it goes. So, also right up in the same vein as horror movies from last year, sequels to horror movies from last year, we've been hearing about a sequel to A Quiet Place for a while. That the movie came out similarly to Halloween. It made a lot of money and it was a very cheap budget, so they made a lot of profit off of that one. And we knew that they were looking at doing a second one for a while. John Krasinski was working on a script. He was flirting with the idea of directing it, but he hadn't landed on anything. That's what we knew at that point. That's where we're at. Now we got a little bit more of an idea. Oh, and we had also heard some details on the story that it would be probably following new characters set within the same world, so it wasn't going to be a direct sequel. At least that's what we heard at that time. Who knows? Maybe the script has changed at this point. But now we're hearing that A Quiet Place 2 might actually start filming this summer. So does that mean, one, they've already got the script, two, they've got their cast, and three, they've already got their director? That must be set in stone if they're going to be filming this summer. So I'm sure we'll be hearing very soon a couple of plot details, maybe some of the cast members, and definitive proof whether or not John Krasinski is going to direct. I don't think it's the end all be all that John Krasinski has to direct this. I am glad that he's involved. He's clearly helping write the script. I'm sure he's going to be a producer and probably an active producer at that. I don't think it's completely necessary that he directs, but I would very much like him to direct. You know, he did such a brilliant job with the first one. I would love to see him come back and direct it, but I don't think the movie is sunk if he's not directing this one. And also, I think while kind of similarly to Halloween, if it was up to me, I wouldn't choose to have a sequel. I love what the first Quiet Place did. I thought it was a great standalone story. It started, it ended, it's all good there. And I just hope, similarly to Halloween, I just hope that the reason we're not getting this, or the reason that we are getting this sequel, isn't just because the first one made so much money. Now we got to somehow figure out how to do a sequel and just pull a story out of their ass and churn it out so that they can get a couple $100 more million. I hope that's not what happens. But so we'll have to find out. I'm sure John Krasinski is very much involved in the script. I'm sure he'll be a producer. I think there's probably a 50-50 chance as to whether or not he'll actually direct it. It depends upon how passionate he is about this film. So I'm sure we're going to get more details on that front soon. We'll have to keep our eyes open. Also, this is the titular part of the stream. So Bob Iger. Well, okay, let me preface this by saying we've known that the deal for Disney to acquire 20th Century Fox has been going on for a while. And it seems like that the final deal is going to be happening like probably the middle of this year. At some point this year, all the T's are going to be dotted, or I's are going to be dotted, and T's are going to be crossed, whatever that saying is. Everything's going to be set in stone, and Disney will actually acquire 20th Century Fox. With that, all of Fox's properties are going over to Disney, not DC, Disney, including their Marvel properties, the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. So in which case we knew that Marvel and Kevin Feige were going to be acquiring the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, and included in the X-Men is Deadpool. So we've known that's going to be happening for a while. Now, Bob Iger, who runs Disney, he made comments about a year ago that it seemed like he was interested in exploring the possibilities of having R-rated movies within their comic book universe, specifically when talking about how Deadpool was going to translate. Because Fox was doing Deadpool as rated R. If Deadpool and the X-Men and all these characters go over to Marvel, are they going to keep them rated R? What's going to happen with all that? That was all up in the air. Iger said some things to make it seem like he was considering the potential of maybe doing R-rated movies with Deadpool, but it didn't sound very concrete. It didn't sound like he had completely figured it out. Now he's actually said something. He said that he thinks that there is room for R-rated adult movies, as he said, specifically with Deadpool, as long as the audience knows that this is separate from the MCU. and that this isn't under the Disney banner. So what does that mean exactly? Well, it sounds like that Bob Iger is suggesting that they are open to the idea of making R-rated Deadpool movies just as long as it doesn't directly tie into the MCU. So we'll have to wait and see how that actually plays out. If that is the case, maybe his quote was taken out of context and we don't know the full story. So there's all this room. But let's take for a second the possibility that what Bob Iger is saying actually does come to fruition. I think this is the best option for Deadpool. I think at this point, Deadpool should be R. I think he should be R. He should stay R. I think that's where he thrives. You could do him as PG-13. It would be fine. But I think people are accustomed to an R-rated Deadpool. And I think you would get some backlash from fans who would just say, oh, Disney's taking away the best parts of this character just to fit him in with their MCU, you know? And I would probably be one of those people saying that exact same thing. I think Deadpool works best as an R-rated character. And while there were some rumors that the Black Widow movie was going to be rated R, and then that turned out to not necessarily be completely accurate or coming from a reliable source, it doesn't seem like Marvel is in the position, or the MCU rather, is in the position to be doing R-rated movies set within their MCU. So that gives some credence to this idea that if Deadpool was going to be a rated R film, that it would be set outside of the MCU. I think this is the ideal thing for the character. Like I said, I think he operates best within an R rating, and I think he would work best outside of the MCU. I don't see Deadpool, as we understand Deadpool to be, working within the current MCU. I think he would work very much making fun of the MCU. I don't know how he would work functioning and serving within the actual MCU that we have right now. And here's a theory that I have, or an idea I have. I think you can have Deadpool separate from the MCU, doing his own thing, and you could still have references to the MCU. I think you could even have characters. You could have Chris Evans as Captain America pop up in a Deadpool movie and have it just not be part of the MCU. You can do that. And I think that there is a potential for Deadpool to just be this, as he exists right now over at Fox, a very meta character making fun of the MCU. You can even have MCU characters in there, but having him separate just doesn't fuck up the timelines or anything like that, or the story, the overarching story that Kevin Feige's trying to tell with his MCU. You can have Deadpool treat Deadpool almost as if, like, you know, in the Muppets, how they have the two guys in the balcony and they're just kind of like the two old guys, I forget their names, and they're just like commentating on everything. Have Deadpool be that. You have what's going on in the MCU, you have your story with Thanos or whatever it may be, and then you have these Deadpool movies where he's making references to the MCU, and you could even have MCU characters pop up in there, but it's not really the MCU. This isn't in continuity with Thor Ragnarok or Captain America the First Avenger or anything like that. But you could still directly reference the MCU. I think this is the perfect scenario if they do decide to go in this direction. Now, the other question is, well, if Deadpool exists in his own vacuum and he's not related to the MCU, does that mean that the X-Men will also be within a vacuum? Or will the MCU, or will the X-Men be in the MCU and Deadpool will also just be separate from the X-Men? I think the latter is more probable than the former. I would prefer that the X-Men be separate from the MCU, just because when you look at bringing over the Fantastic Four or Spider-Man from Sony or anything like this, you're bringing over a few characters. With Spider-Man, you're bringing over Spider-Man and you're bringing his rogues gallery. And that's it. With the Fantastic Four, you're bringing the main four and their rogues gallery, and that's it. With X-Men, you're bringing over 200 characters, 250 characters, something ridiculous like that. You have, and we've seen for the past, however long it's been, 19 years since the first X-Men movie, we have seen that you can have a thriving, self-contained universe with just the X-Men characters. Because there are so many characters that it can fulfill an entire cinematic universe. So I would prefer the X-Men be separate from the MCU just because you have enough characters to sustain its own cinematic universe. If you then bring all those 200, 250 characters over into the MCU, which already has so many characters, I don't know how that's going to be able to work. I would prefer to keep them separate. But if I had to bet money on it, I think the most likely scenario is that the X-Men are integrated into the MCU, but Deadpool is kept within a vacuum outside of that where he can make fun of the X-Men and make fun of the MCU and talk about Disney and maybe even make references to Kevin Feige and Bob Iger. And he can exist breaking the fourth wall and all that and be rated R because he is not directly tied into the MCU, because the events of whatever Deadpool movies would be going on at Disney, the events of those movies would not be canon within the MCU. So that's how I think that should, can, and will work. We'll have to see if Bob Iger actually goes through with it. And before I look over at the chart, not the chart, the chat, they're on the Thursday live streams here. I like to talk about what is opening up in theaters this weekend and give you my impressions as to what I might go see. So the first film opening up is Cold Pursuit, starring Liam Neeson. Now, this is a movie that, from the first trailers, I thought just looked like, oh, it's another rehash of Taken or whatever. That he's done so many of these kinds of movies. I'm not too interested. But the reviews have been great. People have been saying a lot of really good things about it. It has like a 90 something, I think, on Rotten Tomatoes right now, like a 92 or something, unless if it's dropped since the last time I checked it. But I don't know if I'll actually go see Cold Pursuit, but it looks like it actually is going to be pretty good. It looks really interesting. If the trailers appeal to you or you like Liam Neeson and you really want to go see a good action movie this weekend, Cold Pursuit might be one to go see. Also coming up is the Taraji P. Henson remake of the Mel Gibson movie What Women Want, What Men Want. That opens up this weekend. This is one that I love the premise. I love the people involved, but the trailers have never gotten me. It was interesting because I watched the Green Band trailer first. I watched the Green Band trailer and I said, this looks like a movie that that would work and function better as an R-rated movie, but feels constrained to a PG-13 rating, and therefore the jokes are complete shit. That's what that first trailer gave me as an impression. And then I realized the movie's rated R and there's a Red Band trailer. And I watched the Red Band trailer. And I didn't even really like that either. I thought it was better than the Green Band, but it still didn't make me laugh. So I think there's a lot of potential behind this film. And I haven't looked at the Rotten Tomatoes. I haven't read any reviews. So I don't know how people are thinking of it, although I'm not expecting people are actually going to like this movie. There's a lot of potential there. I just don't think it's going to be any funny. It doesn't really look good to me. I'm probably sitting this one out. Also coming out, which is the one that I probably will see this weekend, is the Lego Movie 2. Now, I have not seen I have not seen the Lego Movie 1. I haven't seen it. And I have it. Let's see, where do I got? I have it right here. I'm going to watch it this weekend. You know what? I'm going to do a double feature this weekend. I'm going to watch Lego Movie 1. I'm going to watch the Lego Batman movie, even though that probably has nothing to do with the events of Lego Movie 2 or anything like that. But I'm going to watch those. And then I'm going to try to go see the new Lego movie because I really want to see it. It's getting good reviews. I like everyone involved. It bums me out that I still have not watched the first Lego movie, but I own it, and this is going to give me an excuse to finally watch it. So Lego Movie 2 opens this weekend in the theaters. Probably most people are going to be going to see this movie, and I'm sure that's going to end up being the number one movie of the weekend. And the last film coming out is a horror movie called The Prodigy, which I actually have not seen a trailer for. I try not to seek out trailers anymore. This is my new philosophy. I try, unless if it's like a big trailer like Avengers Endgame or Star Wars or something like that, I try not to go out of my way to watch trailers. If the trailer is in front of a movie in the movie theater and I see the trailer there, fine, I saw the trailer. But I try not to go out of my way to go see trailers for a lot of these smaller films because if I can avoid the trailers, then I know as little about the movie as possible and I open myself up for being surprised when I see the film. Plus, I don't have many preconceived notions and all that. So, Prodigy is one I've heard. I've heard some good things about it. I've heard good things about it. I have not seen the trailer for it. I don't know anything about the movie. Will I actually go and see it? I don't really know. There's a lot opening this weekend. Probably after Lego Movie 2, my number 2 pick to go see a second movie would be Cold Pursuit. And then probably The Prodigy after that. So it's my third pick of the weekend. I don't know if I'm going to have a chance to go see it. But hey, I mean, I like horror, so who knows? Well, that's going to do it for our main topics. So now I'm going to go take a look over at the live chat. And oh, we've got a few people in here. Let's take a look and see what you guys are saying. Wow, there's a lot. All right, going up to the top. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of comments about my coughing. I'm just predicting that right now. Pet Semetary, this is from Rob Jaginza. Pet Semetary will be the next A Quiet Place Paramount movie opening at South by Southwest, coming out first Friday in April. Well, strategically placed and all that, yes. Pet Semetary will be the next A Quiet Place. Will it be the next A Quiet Place in terms of the quality of the film and how good of a horror movie it is and all that, and how robbed at the Oscars it was? That remains to be seen. I think Pet Semetary holds the potential to be the best horror movie of this year. I mean, I can't really think, maybe other than It Chapter 2, I can't think of any other horror movie off the top of my head that could be the best one of the year outside of Pet Semetary. But yeah, Pet Semetary definitely is being placed in the same position to do well as financially as maybe A Quiet Place. Whether it's the same quality, we'll have to wait and see. I'm certainly hoping it will be. Rob says it was a theatrically released movie. You're probably referring to the first Pet Semetary. Okay, so I must have been getting it confused in my head because I know the Salem's Lot movie that came out in '82 was a TV movie. So I must be getting that confused in my head with a Pet Semetary. But yes, I guess it was a theatrically released film. The plot point happens in the first 15 minutes of the movie. Probably still referring to Pet Semetary. Yeah, so seems like that's the catalyst of the film. That's setting us up for the story. So if it's in the trailer, it's in the trailer. All things being equal, I wish I didn't know it so that I would have been surprised when I saw it in the movie. But, I can't blame the people who make the trailers for spoiling the movie when the book has been around forever. The first movie's been around forever, and it's in the first 15 minutes. What do I wish I hadn't seen it? Yeah, I wish I hadn't seen it, that part of it, but I can't blame anyone for putting in the trailer. So now we know what's more about the story going into this next one. What do you think the best horror movie of the year will be? My pick is Ugly Dolls or It Chapter 2. Oh, definitely Ugly Dolls. See, the thing with Ugly Dolls is that they're making it seem like it's an animated kids movie. They're really setting up. They've got all the song people doing the songs and everything. They're setting it up to be this movie. And what's really cool is that they're going for a misdirection in the marketing. See, all the trailers are making it seem like this fun little animated kids movie. And then all the kids go and see the movie, and it's actually the scariest, darkest, creepiest movie of not just this year, but of the decade. You're going to see some ugly dolls get completely murdered. Like, we're looking at a good version of the Happy Time Murders. I can't wait for Ugly Dolls. I'm very excited. And yes, I think that will be the best horror movie of the year. Stop trying to make World War Z 2 happen. Fincher should just do an original zombie movie. Yeah, that's something I was thinking of. I was interested. So when I heard that Fincher was going to be doing World War Z 2, I was like, okay, now I'm more interested in World War Z 2 because I love Fincher and I'm excited to see what he would do with the zombie genre. I'm not as much attached to World War Z 2 itself as much as I was David Fincher doing it and David Fincher doing a zombie movie. But now that it seems like he's not going to be doing World War Z 2, have him do an original zombie movie. I think that would be awesome. I would love to see what David Fincher does with a zombie picture. So I hope that's what he does. I don't know if he'll necessarily do that as his next project, but I hope within his head there's an itch that he just couldn't scratch with this film. He wanted to scratch it by doing World War Z 2, but now that he's not going to get that, the itch is still there. And one day he'll finally decide, you know what, I need to do a zombie movie. And that's the day we'll get David Fincher's zombie movie. One can hope and one can dream. Still want to know why the girl didn't take her phone out of the cheese dip. Oh, that's a reference to Halloween. Yeah, because the boyfriend is arguing with Laurie Strode's granddaughter, and was it actually cheese dip? I thought it was the punch. I thought it was like a bowl of punch that he threw the phone in, which would have been liquid, which would have short circuited the phone or whatever. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was cheese dip. Who knows? Maybe cheese dip has some sort of effect on phones that you and I don't know about. Favorite movie about a boy named Harry Potter who's a wizard. Probably Lord of the Rings: The Fellowship of the Ring. That'd be my pick. When are you watching Happy Death Day, you punk? Well, I don't like the aggression, but Happy Death Day to You, not a good title, in my opinion. Happy Death Day to You, I believe, comes out next weekend. I have not seen the first one. I want to watch it because I'd like to see the second one. Hopefully I get to do that at some point. Honestly, if I miss Happy Death Day to You, I'm not going to cry myself to sleep. I've heard from the people who have seen Happy Death Day, they have said that this movie is actually awesome, that they too believed when the trailers were coming out that it just looked stupid and looked like a terrible, shitty horror movie, but that it's actually awesome and that it's worth seeing. So I hear all that and I accept all that, but that doesn't change the fact that I'm not overly enthusiastic or excited about this new one because I haven't seen the first one, and I'm not at the edge of my seat dying to go see the first one so that I can then see the second one. So I would like to watch it. I'd like to see it. If I don't see it, I'm not going to cry myself to sleep. Seeing Cold Pursuit tonight, does that make me racist? So this is kind of a reference. Okay, I was thinking this was probably going to come up on the show at some point. I do want to address the Liam Neeson. People are calling it a controversy. There's nothing controversial about it. Liam Neeson, while doing press for Cold Pursuit, the story is about a character who goes on a mission for revenge. And I think an interviewer asked Liam Neeson, have you had anything personal in your life that has made you get into that mindset that your character's in, where you need to have like this primal urge for revenge? And Liam Neeson told this story where a close friend, and this was like 40 years ago, a close friend of his was brutally raped. And he was so filled with anger and vengeance and pure hatred that they didn't know anything about the person who had sexually assaulted her. The only information that they knew was that the man who had done it was black. And so Liam Neeson said that in his state of rage and state of anger, he had I think it was like some sort of like knife on him or something. And he would go around and he would hope that he would be provoked by some random black person. And his plan was, if he was provoked and they got into some sort of skirmish, that he would kill him. And he saw this as a way to protect his friend and to gain revenge or something. And then Liam Neeson himself, in this interview, when he was saying all this, he said, now I came down from this anger and I realized just how horrible it was and how I almost did something so completely terrible and awful, and I hate myself for it. And I went and I got help and I tried to work through my issues and my anger, and I'm in a better place now. And I'm telling people this so that other people could learn from what I went through and we can be better people. And sites were running with headlines saying Liam Neeson admits to racially charged wanting racially charged assault or something like that, not taking the whole context of everything that Liam Neeson had said, and pretty much just putting in something in the title that was going to get a bunch of people angry. And so what happened? A bunch of people only read the headline and came up with their own opinion about what it was based off a headline without reading any details of the story. Just saw, oh, Liam Neeson said he was looking around trying to kill black people. Oh, Liam Neeson's a racist. We should boycott his movie, whatever the hell. And all because of, 6 words in a headline and not actually reading the real story. If you read the real story and the full story, and you know everything Liam Neeson said in that interview, then you know what actually happened, and you know that Liam Neeson, at least in the case of this story, Liam Neeson's not a racist. It had nothing to do with race. That was just who the person was that had sexually assaulted his friend. Liam Neeson even said himself, if the person was white, he would have been upset and looking for white people to kill. If the person was Asian, he would have been looking for an Asian person. The race had nothing to do with it. It was more about how he was blinded and driven purely by anger and hatred and vengeance. That's the central part of the story, not the race part of it. And so a whole bunch of people just read a headline, started coming up with their own ideas and opinions and stuff in this Twitter culture that we live in, where people read a headline and suddenly they have to have their own opinion immediately formulated. That's what happens. So there's no controversy. There's only controversy for people who only read the headline. So I think this is something that we should be hearing and talking about in the way that Liam Neeson intended. We should be having a dialogue and a discussion about vengeance and anger and hatred and violence and being consumed by this. That's the point of this story. Not should we condemn Liam Neeson for having thoughts 40 years ago. So I think a lot of people are missing the point of this story and what we should really be talking about. So I know you're being a little facetious, but no, seeing Cold Pursuit does not make you a racist. I want the sequel to be a new family for A Quiet Place. Yeah, I would be into that. I just hope that they don't do the Alien approach. Every single film is a new ship and a new crew, and they find the alien, and then the alien kills them all, and one person escapes. Then the next film, new crew, new ship, find the alien. And I hope it's not something like that, where it's just the same plot points and same plot devices, but with new family and new characters each time. I hope that's not what happens. I think John Krasinski's a little smarter than that. I think he'll realize that, oh, we can't just do the same thing again, just with new characters. But I would agree. I would like to see new characters. I would like it if they kind of set this up to almost be like an anthology series, where you have the kind of what Cloverfield was trying to do before Cloverfield sucked. I think have it be an anthology series. Have what event happened, with the aliens and creatures or whatnot, and the whole premise of you can't make a sound. Have that be there, and then just have different stories set within this world following different characters. What happens all across the world when something like this happens to the entire world? That's where you have your story. Now, if it picks up with Emily Blunt and all that, and it shows us what happens right as soon as the first movie ends, okay, I'll be fine with that. All things being equal, as long as they're not just repeating the movie with a different family, yes, I would be more interested in seeing a different family myself as well. I'd find it interesting if they cast the actress who was originally supposed to play Emily Blunt's character in the first one, whoever she shall be. So whoever was supposed to play the character first, playing the new character, it would depend upon if this actor is the right fit for this character, who this character is, who says that the leading character is even a female character. Maybe it's a male character. Maybe we don't know the story, we don't know the characters, and I don't even know off the top of my head. And you didn't mention in here who the actor was that was supposed to play Emily Blunt's role. So A few things depend upon that, but yeah, that could be interesting. Rich Reviews writes, "Nice beard." Oh, well, thank you. Yes, thank you. Rob Jaginta, thoughts on buffets and what they mean to you. Um, Buffets. I like, well, buffets with food and everything. Yeah, I like buffets. What do they mean to me? I don't know if they mean anything. But I mean, I like going to buffets. See, the thing I like about buffets is that you just have the set price and then you can just go to town and do whatever you want. You can get as much as you want. But the problem is that usually when there are buffets, either they're super expensive to pay for to make up for all the food that they're going to have, or they're cheap and the food isn't good. The food isn't good. It's one or the other. Buffets are nice every once in a while, but yeah, I'm not eating buffets all the time. Tom Brady, kind of like A Star Is Born. I don't really know what that's in reference to, but I love A Star Is Born. Favorite movie 2018. I gotta sift through a couple of these. I am removing that one because that was a racist comment. Rich Reviews, what is your major? My major is film, surprisingly enough. I am a film major here at Fitchburg State University, and I'm very much loving the program. I am in a few different film classes at the moment, including writing for film and video, which is focusing on writing feature-length screenplays. I'm taking advanced cinema production, where we're actually working on a short film. In addition to, I'm working on my own short film that I'm writing, directing outside of class. So I am a film major. I've got a whole bunch of projects going on, including all of my movie Paradise work. So like that. What do you like off camera? What am I like off? I'm kind of off camera the same way I am on camera, or at least I try to act on camera the same way that I act off camera. You know, uh, yeah. I mean, I think that's a better question for people who aren't me, because then it's about how do I come across to people when I don't have a camera in front of me? Because I have my own idea of how I present myself to the world, but that doesn't mean that the world necessarily interprets me the same way that I believe I'm presenting myself. So it's all up for a matter of opinion. You'd have to ask the people who know me personally. Rich Reviews, do you find Tom Brady's wife attractive? Well, I don't know what she looks like specifically, but considering Tom Brady's an attractive person himself, I would assume that he would also have an attractive wife. So the answer is probably, even though I don't know what she looks like. Rob Chickinta says, I'll tell you what he's like off camera. Insufferable. I kid. He's tolerable in small doses. See, that is what I mean. Talk to somebody who knows me personally, and they'll give you an honest answer. Because if I were to tell you how I present myself to people, I'd say I am sufferable. And then you talk to somebody who knows me, and they say I'm insufferable. So there you go. There's your answer. Okay. Sorry, I just got to remove somebody from this chat. Roger Geta, honestly don't like Deadpool. Too inappropriate for the kids. Would need to be G-rated. Would need to be a G-rated place for the better. You probably misspelled something there, but I think you're kidding here. Yes. I mean, could Deadpool work as a PG-13? Sure. Would it be as good as it being rated R? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think here's the thing. A lot of the essence and the DNA of who Deadpool is and why people like him as much as we like him is because of the mouth that he has. and because of the violence and because of the sex and all that kind of stuff. That's part of why people have this proclivity towards Deadpool and why they like him. And so if you take that away from him, I mean, I don't know. It's he could work in a PG-13 and he could work in the MCU. But if you're just making him PG-13 so he'd fit into the MCU and he can just be another character that teams up with the Avengers or whatever, then he's just another superhero. Then he's just a discount Spider-Man, you know, that he loses what makes him so interesting and unique, which is the fourth wall breaking and the language that he uses and all that kind of stuff. That's part of what makes him so unique, and that's what people like about him. So yeah, you could take it away, but why would you? And would you necessarily even make more money? Because it all comes down to money. Would you make more money with a PG-13 Deadpool over an R-rated Deadpool? I honestly don't think you would. Sure, you might get some kids, some 9-year-olds who previously, well, they probably saw Deadpool, but their parents didn't know about it. You know, you'll probably get some 9-year-old kids who now can go see Deadpool because it's PG-13. Yay! But I mean, is it really going to do that much for your box office compared to all the backlash and the hate mail you're going to get? Because imagine if Disney said, hey, we're rebooting Deadpool. We're getting a brand new actor. Deadpool's coming 2022. It will be rated PG-13. The internet would hate Disney. They would say, you're trying to make Deadpool family friendly to fit into your Disney thing, and it sucks, and I hate you. And the amount of backlash and hate that they would get online for making Deadpool PG-13 is that, and dragging the Disney name through the mud because of it, is that really worth the, if anything, finite amount of money that you would be getting from it being PG-13? Is that worth the effort? Or do you just do an R-rated film, which is what everyone's accustomed to, and those movies have been proven to be financially successful? They both made like over 750 million worldwide. So you know that there's already people are going to go see the movie. It's not like Deadpool was a $400 million franchise or a 350, you know, where Disney says, yeah, we could make it R and get 350, but if we made a PG-13, we are most likely going to get above 500. They know that they're already going to get a lot of money from it being rated R. So do you really go through the risk of making a PG-13 and have all the backlash and everything, or do you just make it R, which is what everybody wants it to be, and you know you're going to get at least Guardians of the Galaxy numbers back? I think it just makes sense to go rated R. Rich Reviews says we should do a Google Hangout together. We should. Let's see. Rob Jaginta, currently brushing my teeth. Favorite movie about dental floss? Well, really, all the movies about dental floss are great. I really don't think they have made a bad dental floss movie. Well, there was Dental Floss 4, but we don't talk about Dental Floss 4. I think if you're looking for the Citizen Kane and Dental Floss movies, you got to bring it back to the original. Dental Floss, the first one. Dental Floss is such a great film. Really, go see it. Rob Jacinta says, Cold Pursuit is going to be awesome. I hope it's awesome. I mean, I've heard good things about it. I want to see it at some point. I hope it's good. Let's keep going here. Rob says, seeing what women want on Saturday. I think it'll be funny. I hope it's funny. The trailers haven't made me laugh, so who knows? But maybe it's one of those movie comedies specifically where the trailers aren't funny, but the movie actually is. But I mean, maybe you thought the trailers were funny and it'll work for you. But I know I haven't laughed at the shows yet. Rob, how the hell could you see a movie about Legos over Cold Pursuit? I expected better of you. Well, I am seeing Lego movie over Cold Pursuit. If I want to watch a movie with Liam Neeson and a gun going around killing people, I'll watch Taken again. I'll watch any Liam Neeson movie that he did. I want to go see Lego Movie too. So yeah, that's how things are going for me. Rich reviews. Is there a celebrity that you would love to meet? Well, is there a celebrity that? Yes, I would say my favorite director, Christopher Nolan. I would love to meet Christopher Nolan, sit down for lunch or something, and pick his brain about movies. I would love that. I think that would be incredible. Uh, any other celebrity, like not within the film industry, I don't really care. But if going biggest celebrity that I would want to meet, I'd have to go with Christopher Nolan. But maybe you wouldn't classify him as a celebrity. You might just classify him as someone in the film industry. In which case, if I'm going with an actor, uh, I don't know, Tom Hardy, because Tom Hardy's worked with Christopher Nolan a lot, so I can just ask him everything about Christopher Nolan. There we go. That's a good answer. Uh, Rob Jaginta says Prodigy looks good. I'll check that out too. Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested in checking that at some point. Also, Sam Elliott's new movie. Yes, the Bigfoot movie. Let me look that up. I want to get the title right. The man who killed. Okay, here's the full title: The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then the Bigfoot. If that doesn't immediately get you interested, I don't know what will. Stars Sam Elliott. The trailer looks really good. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna be anywhere near me because it's a much smaller film. Excuse me. It's a much smaller film, so I don't know if it's gonna be anywhere near me. But I definitely of Lego Movie, of Cold Pursuit, What Men Want, and whatever the fuck the other one is, Prodigy. Of all those, yeah, I want to see the man who killed Hitler and then the Bigfoot or whatever it's called. I probably want to see that one the most of any of those movies. But yeah, I don't think it's anywhere near me. Rob Jagintis, excuse me. Rob Jagintis says, "Let's be honest, you're probably not going to see any movies and just stay in and sleep." Yep, you're probably right. Rob Jaginta, A24 has some interesting horror movies coming out. They do. They've been announcing some films that they've got coming up. I'm very excited to see, especially in a post Hereditary A24 universe. I would love to see some of these horror movies that they've got coming out, because Hereditary was great. I don't love all of A24 stuff. In fact, for a while I didn't like them in general as a studio. They've been turning it around for me, especially with a lot of things they've got coming out. They've still got stuff that I don't really care for and I don't like. Some stuff I just find to be incredibly pretentious, but they did a great job with Hereditary. I'm very excited to see any of their new horror stuff. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, Rob, it was Cheese Tip, you jackass. Yeah, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. We'll have to go back and watch the film. And then last question of the day from Rob Jaginta. Happy Death Day to You is a baller title. Don't at me. Well, I am adding you because I think it's a stupid title. Maybe it works for the tone of the films. I don't really know. But from my perspective, looking at it, I think Happy Death Day to You. I think it's more, I absolutely hate when they work in the number of the film into the title. Like, remember Taken was take 3 in, and then there was a few of them. They had Fan Four Stick. Any of these movies, I hate them working the number into the movie. I think it's so ridiculously stupid. And so, yeah, Happy Death Day to You. Yeah, because get it? Because it's a second movie and we're saying Happy Death Day to You. It's a stupid title. Anyways, I just call it Happy Death Day 2. Or you know what? How about you actually spell it out? Instead of doing number 2, letter U, how about you actually spell it out? Happy Death Day to You. Spell the whole thing out. Because then you hear the 2 in it and you're like, okay, we get it, but it doesn't have to be spelled out in some stupid, cliched, stupid way. So you'll never be able to change my mind that Happy Death Day to You, the way that it's spelled currently, is not stupid. Just because I hate them using the numbers in any of the titles. Well, that is going to do it for this installment of Film Thoughts with Nathanael Molnár. thank you so much for joining me for this live show. Once again, live shows are every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be sure to join us for those if you want to be part of the chat and join us for the discussion. A couple of quick updates before I sign off. I will be getting a new camera soon, which is going to be nice. Anyone who follows this channel knows that at the beginning, end of the summer, right around there, I forget exactly when it was, I started doing, it was right when I started doing the channel, because we had been a written site, themovieparadise.com, and then we switched to YouTube. And right when we switched to YouTube, my camera shit the bed, which was great. Yay, now I don't have a way to film videos. So I got this cheap webcam that I've got right now, and I've been using that ever since, and it's been serviceable. It's not the greatest. It's not, I mean, it's better than no camera, but it's not great. The quality isn't excellent. So I will be getting a new camera soon, which will be nice. So you'll definitely see an increase in the production value of these videos, which is nice. So that will be coming. And other than that, be sure to like, comment, subscribe for more content, and follow us on all of our various social medias at Movie Paradise 99. And if you're interested and you like our content and you like what I've been putting it out, go find us on Patreon. We have a couple of tiers. If you like my content, sign up for $1.50 a month or $3. There's some perks involved. If more people sign up, then maybe I'll introduce some new tiers and some new rewards. But right now, that's what we got. So if you like my content and you would love to contribute, you can go ahead to Patreon and do it there. So until, today's Thursday, so Sunday. Until Sunday at 5:30 when we rejoin for Film Thoughts with Nathanael Molnár, take it easy. And thanks for watching.